How is AI reshaping the global workforce? And what does this mean for the future of employment? Well, today I want to explore some of these questions with my guest, who is the Chief Product and Strategy Officer at Globalization Partners, or GP for short. His name is Nat, and he is at the forefront of integrating AI into global employment strategies, overseeing innovative solutions that are changing how businesses manage teams across more than 180 countries. And one of GP's standout achievements is their AI tool, which has answered more than 30,000 complex compliance questions, but with a 95% efficiency rate in just 6 months. But Nat believes AI isn't here to replace human jobs, it is here to augment them. And his mantra is, humans are wise, but AI is intelligent. And I think that captures the balance in how my guest sees the balance between technology and human expertise. So today we're going to explore how AI can be a powerful ally in navigating the intricate web of global employment laws, enhancing productivity and driving innovation. And Nat will also share his insights on the trends that he's observing, including how younger generations are naturally integrating AI into their workflows, and why continuous learning is key to staying ahead in this AI-enabled future. And I also want to discuss the shift in skill sets that AI brings and the importance of critical thinking in a world where businesses must embrace AI or risk becoming obsolete. So much to go at here. So if you're ready to learn how AI can help your organisation attract and retain top talent while staying competitive on a global scale, you're in for a treat today. I want to take a time out to express my gratitude to everyone who supports my mission of delivering daily content to you in 165 countries. I couldn't do it without you, and I couldn't do it without my sponsors. And today I want to give a quick shout out to Kiteworks, who recently told me that defence contractors are facing immense pressure to comply with things like CMMC 2.0 security standards. And finding a secure, easy to use file sharing platform that meets those guidelines can be a big challenge. So, quick shout out to any defence contractors listening out there. CMMC 2.0 compliance doesn't have to be a headache. Consider Kiteworks your fast track to authorisation. And as a FedRAMP moderate authorised solution, they cover nearly 90% of CMMC 2.0 Level 3 requirements. For you, that means less time, less effort, less cost. And while others struggle with DIY approval processes and clunky apps, you'll breeze through with their zero trust framework. So don't let compliance slow you down, is what I'm trying to say. Simply visit kiteworks.com to get started. That's kiteworks.com to learn more about Kiteworks' secure content platform for CMMC compliance. But with my thank yous out of the way, it's now time to jump right into today's interview with a fantastic guest. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Awesome. Thank you. I'm excited to be on the show with you today, Neil. My name is Nat Natarajan. I'm the Chief Product and Strategy Officer of GP, also known as Globalization Partners. We provide everything companies need to build and manage teams in more than 180 countries across the globe. And we've been doing this for 12 odd years. Our founder, Nicole Sahin, was the one who started this industry that we call employer of record today. So the last 2.5, 3 years, I've been really excited about, continuing to build a technology platform and really leveraging AI as we think about this complex task of employment compliance laws in 180 countries. And, seems to be a task that AI is best suited for.
And I'm glad you mentioned AI there. There's so much hype at the moment. And one of the things I try and do every day on this tech podcast is get people thinking differently about the impacts it can have on a particular industry. So now, with your increasing investment in AI technology, I'm curious, how do you see AI transforming the landscape of talent acquisition and retention? And can AI truly complement that human aspect of work rather than replace it? We've all seen those horror stories in our newsfeed, but how do you see it?
Like any technology. It is how you use it and craft it and embed it to get true efficiencies and so productivity out of it. We are in the human business, right? We have professionals across the globe in 180 countries who work for our customers, and they have needs and questions and compliance laws and HR deeply human centric in their needs. And we believe at our core that combining the human talent that we have with technology and increasingly AI is the best combination for experiences for our customers. We don't believe AI will replace, it will augment what we do today. So the best phrase that I like to use about this is humans are wise, AI is intelligent.
Love that. What a great phrase. I might have to borrow that in the future, maybe for one of my articles. And another reason I invited you on the podcast to join me today was I was recently reading GP's research that indicates that a significant portion of executives are already utilising generative AI tools. And I don't think that's a huge surprise. But how do you see this trend aligning with the expectations of this new gen global workforce? And what role do you see AI playing in shaping their career growth and workplace flexibility? Because there is a lot of opportunities here, isn't there?
Absolutely, Neil. I think Gen Global is a trend that we've seen over the last few years, and it really includes Gen Global includes people who embrace globalization, have a strong appetite for technology and the efficiencies that it brings to their roles, and I mean, innovation is always critical at this juncture. I see AI being used across the board, across every function within the company. So think of it, 20 years back, some people would use mobile phones. Today, we use it almost every day, ubiquitously for everything that we do. And I think AI is at that same inflection point. I think the impact of AI will probably be, much more than mobile, but it's very similar. Today, you don't ask, hey, do the marketers use mobile, or is it only the salespeople? But everybody does. And I think everybody is going to use AI increasingly. And I'll give you an example, maybe from my personal life. My son just started working a couple of years back. He's a software engineer. And after his first year, he used ChatGPT for his performance review as a draft. So that's how pervasive it's becoming.
Yeah, it really is. I've got similar stories with my son as well. And he was doing the digital nomad thing in Europe and Southeast Asia. He's got his job. He works full-time, but he can work anywhere in the world because it is remote only. And he said he found himself in a completely alien environment. And Google, I think he needed to get from A to B, and he didn't know how to do that. He went to Google. He said, Dad, it was just nothing but sponsored results and irrelevant information. He went to, I think it was ChatGPT, and said he needed to get to and from these places. And straight away, it gave him the exact information he needed. He got the bus that he needed, and he was on his way. And of course, I had that conversation about hallucinations and how up-to-date the technology is. But straight away, I'm starting to see there's a shift in perception on how we get information and the channels that we use. There's so many big changes coming, isn't there?
Absolutely. I think AI has been going on for decades, right? I mean, the research in AI has been long. I think what has happened is ChatGPT caught the imagination of the world.
Yeah.
And with the massive amounts of data that the internet and technology companies have created over the last, 30 years, the digitization of the data has really fueled AI to be really, really powerful. And I'll give you an example. We started thinking about this about a year back, and within a very short period of time, we were able to put a product together for our internal teams. So, not one lawyer will have compliance information, employment compliance information across 180 countries. They'll have it for different regions and maybe one or two countries at a time. So we were able to take our knowledge base that we've had, the data that we've had over the last 12 years, put it into our AI engine, and we gave it in the hands of of all our employees. And my expectation was that we'll get, the operations team would be the ones who would use it the most, because they answer questions, right? And my biggest surprise was when my number one user within the company is my sales team. And within 6 months, 30,000 questions have been answered with more than 95% efficiency.
Wow. That's phenomenal, isn't it? And I guess the big question is, the elephant in the room is, how can organizations strike that right balance between adopting AI technologies and also investing in their human workforce, and the kind of strategies that companies should employ to ensure that AI enhances rather than diminishes the value of their employees? Because there will be some unscrupulous employees out there that see it as a cost-cutting exercise. And I always think that these companies are kind of missing the point, because the magic happens with the two side by side. But how do we ensure that we don't leave anybody behind and invest and reskill in the workforce?
I think one of the things that AI is really good for, and I'll just use the same tagline, humans are wise, AI is intelligent, or AI is smart. So if you use that and say, okay, now how do you take a job and how do you deconstruct tasks? And if you start looking at AI as a way to replace tasks, not people, then the people get creative at what they're good at, which is more creativity. It's more, how do they look at trends across multiple tasks as opposed to doing one task well. So if you change that and you start looking at every job, you might see that AI can help a significant portion of it. The most common things that you hear today are, one, content writing, right? So content writing doesn't get replaced. Content writers do not get replaced, but they get an easier way to get a draft from AI, and they then iterate on top of that, right? Engineers are not, you're not replacing them, their ability to write software, but AI can generate code which then they can improve on. So that augmentation is what's going to lead to the productivity gains that we'll see. So to your question, how do companies prepare for this? And I think it's really looking at jobs and every role and seeing what tasks can be leveraged by AI, which will improve productivity for those jobs.
100% with you. I echo everything that you said there. And another reason I was excited to get you on the podcast was I was reading before you came on that you mentioned that AI adoption shouldn't just be limited to technical roles. Can you share any examples of how AI can be better leveraged in non-technical roles to improve things like efficiency and effectiveness? You provided one a few moments ago, but is there anything else that springs to mind?
Yeah, look, I'll just share the example we used. So GIA is the name of our internal product. It's called Global Intelligence Assistant, and GIA is used by my sales team. And my sales team, when they would get a question from one of the customers about a complex compliance concern they have, it would take them several days to ask 3-4 people to get back. And today, they can answer it on the call.
Yeah.
So it's improving their efficiency significantly. Same thing with the operations teams. They would have to go to 3 or 4 different reference points to get knowledge to answer a certain ticket or a question from a customer. Today, they have it at their fingertips. So these are roles that are being made more efficient and effective using AI. So it's not just the engineering team; it is business teams, it is sales teams, it is marketing teams, it is our operations. So I think across the board, content's an easy one. We already talked about this, but I now see every company, and I'll give you an example. I think Zendesk. We use Zendesk as a tool for our internal ticketing systems. They now have started using AI to help the reporting of what happens within a company much, much easier. So then operations managers get that information and they can figure out how to organize their workforces differently.
And I suspect there'll be many people listening, nodding in agreement. So much of what you said will resonate with them now. And given that almost half of executives are already using AI for tasks in everything from help creating presentations to writing emails, do you think this indicates a broader shift in how businesses view the role of AI in their daily operations? And how do you think this will continue to influence the skill sets that companies look for in future talent. And I think there's a big reason we should mention this. There will be a lot of younger listeners listening. And if we have anyone in school age or college and university, that they're almost in schools training for roles that don't exist yet. So there's a huge movement here, isn't there?
Absolutely. I think, technology shifts are pretty radical. They happen sort of suddenly. There's an inflection point. The internet had been around for almost 15 years before it took off as an inflection point. Today, my son who's 24 doesn't remember a time that the internet did not exist.
Yeah.
So I think AI is that next generational shift. I think, some people call it the combination of cloud, internet, and mobile combined. This shift to AI is that big. So the trends I do see are, at the end of the day, again, humans are wise, AI is smart, AI is intelligent. So how do we continue to keep our abilities? It's critical thinking. So the smart task, a lot of people today don't do sort of table math.
Yeah.
2 times 2, 2 times 3, 2 times 4, because sort of a calculator does it. So what we'd use our intelligence is to think about what do those numbers mean and what can they tell us. So AI is going to be very similar in that fashion, where human beings are very good at critical thinking. And that's what we got to continue to hone in the next generation of talent.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I must admit, as someone that, as a child, I used to remember everybody's phone numbers, and the mobile came along, and obviously we don't need to anymore. It's in our phone. Do you think there is a danger that the critical thinking side, if we get too over-reliant on AI, we could get too lazy and lose some of that critical thinking? Is that something you think about?
Yes, I do. And, I've been in technology quite a long time, and I've seen that each time there is a big shift in technology, it creates a little bit of fear about jobs, or, will the human intellect dull? Growing up in the 70s, I think my parents used to worry about, me not having much of brain food, just watching TV for a couple of hours a day. And that hasn't changed the human spirit, right? So I think humans are more resilient than we give them credit for. And I think we will find ways to leverage and augment AI to improve our lives. And it won't get to this fear psychosis that sometimes technology shifts sort of create in us.
100% with you. And just to bring to life some of what we're talking about here and understand how it is impacting your work, how are you at Globalization Partners integrating AI into your own operations to support global employment? And any lessons that you've learned along the way that maybe other companies and other business leaders listening around the world might benefit from when considering AI implementation?
Yeah, we are actually taking a AI first approach to a lot of the problems we're trying to solve, right? So we launched this product called GIA internally, where anyone in the company can use the knowledge that we have built to go and ask questions, complex, compliance law, employment law questions, and get instant answers to it. We recently launched it for our customers. So as they onboard professionals, if they have questions about a certain benefit or a certain compliance law, instead of emailing somebody, they can ask GIA, and GIA answers it for them in line. So it makes their work more efficient. And I think going forward, it's almost like augmenting your HR team, your legal team, with a digital assistant on their side who understands, compliance laws in 180 countries. That's the vision that we're building towards, which I think it's not going to replace, it'll augment and make these professionals much more productive.
I think we've all been guilty of scrolling down or doom scrolling down our news feeds. We've seen those horror stories around AI and the robots with the red eyes and all the bad stuff. But I think bad news sells, it gets more clicked, whereas good news doesn't always. And looking ahead as an optimist and a technologist, how do you envision the future relationship between AI and human work? And any steps that you think organizations should take or things they should be thinking about to prepare their workforce for a future that increasingly relies on these AI technologies?
I think it's very important for organizations to really look at, tasks for every job, and figuring out which of those tasks AI will be better at and which of those tasks the human beings will be better at. Yeah. So I think that's a reckoning that will happen at many different jobs. Second, I think organizations and workforces need to spend time curating the data sets that they have. There's a lot of rich information that companies have. Usually it is not in a format that can be consumed by AI, and that requires a lot of time and effort. So I think starting to do that now will give dividends as they take on the AI journey. There's only one world that I think is going to exist in the future, which is either you are out of business or you're an AI-enabled business.
Wow, I think that's a powerful moment to end on. And before I let you go, a question I've got to ask, I think there is such a pressure that everyone feels right now to be in an almost state of continuous learning. So as someone that is so forward-focused and embracing AI, I've got to ask, where or how do you self-educate? Any tips you could share there?
I'm a strong believer in continuous improvement. So I'm better today than I was yesterday, and I'll be better tomorrow than I am today. And the only way to do this is to really thinking about how you learn. So the early parts of my career, they were all about learning from my manager, my mentors. At different stages, I had my own personal board of directors who are, different. But now what I'm learning is I learn from young engineers, young product managers, young salespeople who are just coming into the workforce. Every interaction I have with them, I learn something about myself and how I can be better. So that's my new way of keeping up to date and keeping myself on the continuous improvement cycle.
Wow, I think that is absolutely fantastic advice. Again, when we're scrolling down our news feeds, there's so many different conflicting opinions about so many different generations in the workplace. But I think having 3 or 4 generations in the workforce is incredible, really, that we can all learn from each other. And I think that is the key. Every day is a school day, learning something from every single person that you meet. And for anyone listening that just wants to find out more about anything we talked about today, or maybe even connect with you or your team, and maybe forgot a few questions, where would you like to point everyone?
Please come and visit us at g-p.com. And we have a special report that we ran recently on AI at work, which has more trends on AI insights and trends. So that's the best place for you to get more information from us.
Awesome. Well, I'll have links to everything, including that report, just so people listening can find out more information. And we covered so much in a 30-minute podcast today, from the new gen global workforce, the technology that will complement human work, and why an inclusive approach to AI adoption is so important, and how AI at work can unlock so many global opportunities for everyone. We see a lot of doom and gloom out there. It was great to restore the balance in the universe with some positive news, and just a big thank you for shining a light on that today.
Thank you, Neil. It was a pleasure talking to you and learning from you.
So what does it take to stay relevant in this rapidly evolving AI landscape? As my guest highlighted, the future of work lies in a harmonious blend of human wisdom and AI intelligence. And I love that. And I love how they're using AI to empower teams with instant access to complex compliance information. But the message is clear. AI should be an enabler, not a replacement. And continuous learning and embracing the insights of younger generations too, and that are entering the workforce, learning from everyone, learning from each other. These are crucial steps in preparing for the future. I also love his approach there of better today than yesterday, better tomorrow than today. It's, for me, a powerful reminder that in this age of AI, our ability to adapt and grow is possibly our greatest asset. But over to you. How are you fostering a culture of continuous learning and never underestimating the value of critical thinking in the AI world? How are you leading from the front here? What concerns do you have? As always, email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, @NeilC.Hughes. And one final thought, ask yourselves, as you switch off this episode, how can you leverage AI to create a smarter, more resilient workforce? Let me know your thoughts on that, but time for me to go now. I've taken up far too much of your time. So thank you for listening today. Hopefully you'll join me again tomorrow. But bye for now.